On September 11, 2001, terrorists of the Islamic group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airliners and carried out suicide attacks targeting the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C., and the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Over 3,000 people's lives were taken that day on September 11th. In response to the attacks on the Twin Towers, President George W. Bush introduced a military campaign known as the War on Terrorism. Not all friends and family members of the victims supported the United States decision. They chose to honor their loved ones who perished in 9/11 by encouraging the development of peaceful communities that embrace alternatives to hatred and violence. They wanted to ensure that violent actions were not done in revenge in their names or in the name of their loved ones. They did not want their grief to justify American attacks in Afghanistan. Craig Amundson was one of the people's lives who were lost that day. He was an Army specialist and he lost his life at the Pentagon. He left behind 2 young children and his wife, Amber. After the attacks, Amber called for peace and refused to support the 2001 war in Afghanistan. She sent a letter to the Chicago Tribune titled "A Woman's Plea for Nonviolence" in 2001. In 2002, she founded the September 11th Families for Peaceful Tomorrows, an organization opposed to military campaigns in Afghanistan created by family members of some of the victims of September 11th. I'm going to read the letter that she wrote to the Chicago Tribune, and it's in regards and response to her husband's death. My husband, Craig Scott Amundson of the U.S. Army, lost his life in the line of duty at the Pentagon on September 11th, as the world looked on in horror and disbelief. Losing my 28-year-old husband and father of our 2 young children is a terrible and painful experience. I have heard angry rhetoric by some Americans, including many of our nation's leaders, who advise a heavy dose of revenge and punishment. To those leaders, I would like to make it clear that my family and I take no comfort in your words of rage. If you choose to respond to this incomprehensible brutality by perpetuating violence against other innocent human beings, you may not do so in the name of justice for my husband. Craig would not have wanted a violent response to avenge his death. And I cannot see how good can come of it. We cannot solve violence with violence. Gandhi said, "An eye for an eye only makes the whole world blind." I call on our national leaders to find the courage to respond to this incomprehensible tragedy by breaking the cycle of violence. I call on them to marshal this great nation's skills and resources to lead a worldwide dialogue on freedom from terror and hate. She was later interviewed by Bill O'Reilly and got a lot of attention for her letter and speech, and that is how she is known. Thank you.